Hey, what's up, good people? It's Jay Ray, the co host of Q Points, and I wanted to come to you because there are two really important ways that you can support our show. One is by subscribing to it wherever you listen to or watch your podcasts. Q Points is pretty much everywhere. The other thing that you can do is you can visit us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and on Podchaser, and you can leave us a star rating. Please rate us 5 stars because you know you love Q Points. And on Apple Podcasts and on Podchaser, you can actually leave us a written review. It's not required, but it really does help to spread the word about the show, and it helps people to discover it as they're looking for new podcasts to listen to. We're always appreciative of you supporting Q Points. We thank you so much for all that you've done for us so far, and enjoy the show.
Greetings and welcome back to another episode of Q Points Podcast. I am DJ Sir Daniel.
And my name is Jay Ray, sometimes known by my government as Johnny Ray Cornegay III. My mic is hot. How you doing, people?
That's what's up. That's what's up. Q Points Podcast is the podcast dropping the needle on Black music history, and you are in store, party people, for another fantastic episode. But first, I got to check in with you, Jay Ray. How are you feeling? How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. I just celebrated my 47th birthday. Thank you so much for the birthday love. I really appreciate it. And thanks to everybody who's checking in on the birthday front. So I'm feeling really good. As I've mentioned on the socials, I bought my first piece of exercise equipment, Sir Daniel.
Yes, I
And
saw that.
so I've been riding my spin bike. There's the women on the videos have been like giving me instruction and stuff. So I'm learning, y'all. I'm learning. I'm slowly getting up to speed, but things are good. How are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you for that inspiration. I need to get back into my routine of physical activity. I'm an avid swimmer, but for the past few month and some change, I haven't been going as much, and that's work related. But that needs to change, and a lot of things are going to change pretty soon, God willing. And yeah, I'm going to get back on that train because we are on the destination to better health around here. As Jerry said, he's another year older.
Yep.
And we all want to get another year older continuously past 50, past 60, because we deserve that. There's a lot of Black men that don't get to live beyond the age of 44, which is the age that the subject of this episode passed away at. So both of us are actually older than this gentleman got to be.
Yeah.
And it's a blessing that we're here, and we're blessed to be talking about none other than Heavy D. Heavy D is just one of those people in hip hop history that is so universally loved. It's funny. So Jerry, we're not blind to what's been going on. There are figures in hip hop right now that are being highlighted, or their past is being brought into the light now of all the despicable things that they have done to other people, to other members in the hip hop community, to people that they supposedly love.
Yes.
But we have not been privy to or have never heard anything disparaging about one Dwight Myers, aka Heavy D, who is the topic of this episode. And I gotta say that in and of itself, J. Ray, is a wonderful accomplishment.
It is.
To go through your life being admired and genuinely loved, and people knowing that you're a good character. And that's something to be celebrated, in my opinion. I don't think we celebrate it enough.
I absolutely agree. I think the beauty of just reflecting on Heavy D's legacy, as I was just kind of listening to Heavy D stuff in preparation for the show and just kind of reflecting on how Heavy D's music made you feel. So not only is it that piece that you talked about, right? Where it's just like, this is a figure that was universally loved within hip hop. He worked with so many artists across his career, helped to launch careers of many people, some we are talking about in pop culture today,
Yeah.
and did that and really had just a spirit of excellence in what he did from a musical standpoint. So Heavy D was such a pioneer on just kind of the hip house side of things, but also the R&B and hip hop side of things, where he was doing this really, really early. But going back to me personally,
Mm-hmm.
I remember in fourth grade in 1987 when I heard the Overweight Lovers in the House, and I had never heard someone who was like fly talking about being a big guy, because we had the Fat Boys, right? But they had become a parody, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
No diss to the Fat Boys, but we know what happened with their careers. They simply became like a parody kind of group of themselves from when they started, right? But Heavy D didn't do that. Heavy D was like, I'm a rock the fly gear. I'm going to get all the ladies and I'm going to rap. You know what I'm saying? As a big dude, and I'm going to celebrate that. And Heavy D was kind of the, we know that Big got some of his thing from what Heavy
Mhm.
D had been doing. There's no way that that didn't happen. Puff saw what was happening with Heavy and was like, we got to get you to do some of that, but in your own way.
For sure, for sure, and definitely Big definitely had an apartment, a deluxe apartment in the sky in the building that Heavy D built.
Ooh,
You know what I'm saying?
I
He
like
he
that. I like.
did. And but when I think about my first recollection of Heavy D, I remember somebody referring to me as the overweight lover heavy D, because growing up I was about what, in 7th grade when that record dropped. And if you were a big boy, no matter how and tall at that, they were going to call you whatever. They were going to call you Heavy D. They tried to call me Heavy A, blah blah blah, just trying to make it stick and use it as a form of trying to be disparaging.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do think about Heavy D's legacy, as Heavy D reminds me of myself because he's an immigrant.
Yeah.
He's from an immigrant family from Jamaica.
Okay.
I'm West Indian as well. And to come here to this country, he truly was the epitome of what did we call that group of West Indians? Anyway, for those of you who don't know, in New York in the 60s to the mid 70s, there was a huge influx of West Indians that came to New York. And Heavy D's family was part of that influx of West Indians coming to the New York area. And it was just about making it in the United States the best way that you can. The West Indians have a history of being hardworking people, and he took that and turned it into music. Now, I'm sure he faced a lot of opposition because most West Indian parents don't want to hear anything about their children doing anything to having anything to do with music, much less rap. At that
Yeah.
time, was not celebrated and
Yes.
was not the huge global financial success that it is, or well, it was in yesterday's. It used to be. Um, but yeah, so he was part of that, but he still stuck it out.
Yeah.
Um, Heavy also brought with him this knowledge of and showmanship of what it meant to be. Yes, I'm a big guy, but I'm going to present myself the best way I know how.
Yes.
I am representing hip hop, which is for the streets.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not completely the streets.
Right.
I'm from the suburbs,
Yep.
and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with letting you know that, but I'm still not nothing to be played with on the mic.
Yeah.
And so it was all these different levels to Heavy D that we could observe. And as a young guy coming up after Heavy D and seeing him, it was like, okay, yeah, I see somebody that kind of reminds me of myself.
Yeah.
and I can emulate that. Of course, I so wanted. As a matter of fact, I think I went out and got one of those Nike sweatshirts
Yeah.
just on the strength, because I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's what I should look like. That's fly. I like that.
You know what's interesting about that? You know what? We're going to get to that in a second because I do want to share for those folks who don't know, because I think one of the reasons why we wanted to do this show, Sir Daniel, too, is because we don't talk about Heavy D enough.
No.
Heavy D was such a bridge building artist when it comes to hip hop. Like we talked about hip hop and R&B. Like Heavy D was really like the artist that straddled all of these lines. And there's a real specific reason, but just to give folks who may not know just like a super quick history of Heavy D as an artist, as DJ Sir Daniel mentioned, so Heavy D grew up in Mount Vernon, New York. Heavy D and the Boys. So you kind of can't mention Heavy D without mentioning Heavy D and the Boys. So Heavy D and the Boys was the group. So it was Heavy D, Eddie F, G Wiz, Trouble T Roy. And they were Heavy D and the Boys. And what's interesting, so they were the first group signed to Uptown. I forgot about that. They were the first group signed to Uptown. But the reason why Hev was able to straddle this line, of course, his first big major producer we've done a show on was Teddy Riley. Teddy Riley, super producer, all of the things, right? Teddy Riley was Mr. New Jack Swing, but was Heavy D's primary producer along with Eddie F and Tony Dofat and Hev himself. But it allowed Hev to have that R&B thing. But I want to go back to this fashion thing real quick, Sir Daniel, because Hev definitely had the street thing. Like, so when we first started interacting with him, it was the street thing. You know what I'm saying? But that second album, he put on the suits.
Bruh.
A rapper in 1989, when all the other rappers were like hats and t-shirts and whatever, Heavy D said, no, we're dressing up. Literally was rocking suits.
Silk suits, patent leather shoes with the big buckles on the side, a little polka dot splash here and there. It was giving. It was the uniform. I remember that shift that summer after we got our own thing dropped. I remember all of us at one point or another getting some type of silk shirt with a bold print on it.
Yep.
And the slick patent leather bottom shoes, so we can do, because everybody was doing the Running Man at that point. and you needed that slickness to get some motion. And he definitely made it shift. I remember all of us kind of like, specifically in eighth grade, we went on a field trip. And I just remember specifically repeating the line, "Don't be down with anybody, let them all be down with you."
Yes.
And it was like, that was like gospel to an adolescent, like, who's trying to figure out their way in the world, who's trying to figure out their way navigating the streets of Brooklyn, and becoming who they're supposed to become, or figuring the world out.
Yeah.
But who knew that was going to be such a message that would be implanted into our brains? But then, not only J. Ray, simultaneously with that album coming out, remember Heavy got the Sprite campaign.
Absolutely.
At the same time.
Yeah.
So you couldn't go anywhere without seeing Heavy D and the Boys. Imagine Sprite, a household brand, associated with Americana. And when I say Americana, white people, now has entrusted their brand with this hip hop band, this hip hop group, and they're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
The world is still trying to figure us out and what we're all about, but we're giving them little peeks and glances into the culture. And here's this this guy who's not really threatening. He's not threatening like those other rap guys, those other rappers. He's clean
I like
cut.
this. I like this Heavy
I
D
like
guy.
him. I like him. My mother likes that song. The one that says, "Oh yeah, Mr. Big Stuff." Yeah. So to your point earlier, he was perfect, the perfect bridge,
Yep.
but for us, the Gen Xers and our parents, because he skillfully selected records that would appeal to all of us and would reflect him and his stature. He didn't mind using his stature as a way of getting people to listen. And that summer, that was just a fun summer of everybody being of kids growing up in the hood, getting a taste of what it was to be fly. Because all the other, the older cats were really who were getting money the way that they could. We saw that, and we saw that them change from, the troop suits and gold chains to being a little more polished looking. You had to get your fade tight, get you a couple lines in it, some lines in your eyebrows because you want to. This was a part of the. This was like the hip hop was going to the teen prom.
That is a perfect explanation because this was, to your point, right? The first sign of hip hop kind of growing up, right?
Yes.
So if we look at 1989 and what was happening, if we look at Heavy D as kind of like drawing a line, right? You have that aspect, definitely the fashion thing. But you know what else, Sir Daniel, right? Hev was dancing, y'all. Hev had fun choreography. He was a big dude who was dancing with G Wiz and T Roy and was just staying in time with them and being the lead of this whole thing. So you not only have this man dancing in suits, right? Rapping his behind off, but also introducing this style of music out of Chicago that's now, of course, there's New York has a version of it, and he's bringing that into it. So them BPMs, Teddy is bringing them BPMs and them songs up a little bit. Hev is adding a little bit of his Jamaican roots into the rhymes. There was so much happening with all of the bridges he was building because he was the only one that was kind of doing all of that at the
time. Heavy, I'm sure our downstairs neighbors were just through with me. I was in my little room trying to learn those dance steps because yes, at that time Hammer was doing his thing. Hammer was making his own noise, but Heavy D for sure, a consummate showman, keeping up with like you said, he could have easily let T-Roy, Troy, and G Wiz do their thing behind him. No, he was like, I'm going to learn these steps. I'm going to practice with y'all. I'm going to keep up with y'all. He knew the value of being an entertainer at an early age, early in his career. He understood the value of going out. When you go out on tour, you got to give people a show. And that's why, when he went out with Salt and Pepper and Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince, and, they had, can you imagine that those kids were giving you a full show?
Yes.
Like dancing, they had the DJ backup, all of that. It was just a full experience that they gave to us back then. And Heavy was not shy from leaning into his own version of being a sex symbol.
Yep.
Like from the first album, Overweight Lover, on over to Big Time, where Girls the Girls They Love Me, and continuing that lover boy, kind of the real lover boy, probably the first one of the first lover boys of no, LL will always be the number one lover boy of hip hop. I almost choked on my words there. LL will always be the number one lover boy, but Heavy D was a close second.
Absolutely.
And I don't think there was any. Heavy D was sought after on all your favorite Black sitcoms. Remember, he did an episode of A Different World. Was he on the Cosby Show at one point? Did he pop up on the Cosby Show?
I don't remember the Cosby Show. I think and this was further along in his career, but I most fondly remember him on Living Single.
Living Single. Yep.
Him and baby, when he was about to marry that Vivica Fox character,
Oh,
that
that was a hilarious
episode.
episode. And Regine was like, huh, this guy, who does he think he is? And she started falling for him.
Yep.
That's all the power of Heavy D, like the likability, the marketability. J. Ray, he went on to do the theme song for one of our favorite shows.
He did.
In Living Color. I'm
Classic
partial to the
theme
second
song.
season. I'm partial to the second season because it had a little more bounce to it to me.
I think that is, once again, to your point, the magic of Heavy D. And I think another important kind of note, I'm gonna actually share a secret with you, Sir Daniel. I don't know if I've said this out loud publicly before, but when it was first released, your boy did not like Now That We Found Love. I did not like that song. And here's why.
Okay.
Because in 1991, that was like way too far on the pop side of things, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, We Got Our Own Thing was still black house dance, right? Now That We Found Love was like Club MTV house dance. Sure. And I was in my feelings when that came out and was like, Hev, why are you doing this? And then Is It Good to You came out, and I think Who's the Man or something came out. I think they ended up having to do a whole thing where it was like he had to do a B-side at some point in between all of this. But I just wanted to share, when Now That We Found Love came out, which was on the Peaceful Journey record, which was the first record after Trouble T. Roy passed away, or had actually died tragically in an accident.
Felt his death, yeah.
Yeah, and Now That We Found Love became a huge hit, of course. And then I grew to be like, I really like that song. But when it first came out, no, that was not it. I was like, this ain't it, Ev. It got him a hit, though.
It for sure did. You know, looking back, I didn't hate it, but I know where you're coming from because I kind of felt that way about a lot of my favorite rap groups that were, dipping their toe over into the pop side of things. And yes, Heavy D, Salt and Pepper, they were showing up. Because just so that you're in good company, I'll share with you. I did not like Let's Talk About Sex. I did not like it.
I get it.
Especially when they made it real clubby. Yes. I hated it. I was like, but then it became a message and it became an anthem song. So I was like, okay, I gotta make space for Let's Talk About Sex. But back to Heavy D, I think, like you said, his star power is increasing. The record label wants more because they know what he's capable of bringing in. He's like a big marketing beast. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, you throw in the fact that he does music with not one, but two members of the most elite family in black pop music history.
Absolutely.
You start off with Janet with All Right, and being in that magnificent movie style video.
Yeah.
And then a few years later, you come out with Michael.
Yeah.
With Jam. And Heavy D was that dude because he invited people. He had Crisscross.
Yep.
I'm sure he gave Michael some hip hop cachet by having Heavy had those people come through. Naughty by Nature was on Kid and Play's podcast recently and saying how recollecting that moment when they were invited down to the Jam video set. Heavy D had invited them. Crisscross. Who else was down there? It was a lot of, it was a few other rappers that were there sharing in that spotlight. And because of Heavy D, because Heavy, I'm sure Michael was like, my sister likes this guy. Let me check him out, see what he's about. And he brought his own magic to that song.
Yeah. And to that point, Janet has already gone on record. She was like, no, the remix with Heavy D happened because literally he said, I want to get on a remix to that song. And she's like, all right, like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it became a classic joint to your point. you just can't, it's just magic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, this brother's career is so funny. Now that we are having this conversation, it's even more important that we have more conversations about him because you realize just how important he really was, right? So he's doing the business stuff, he's doing the music thing, um,
Movies.
movies. Oh, and the song, by the way, just came to me. It was You Can't See What I Can See. That was the B-side. Remember, they had to release that
Yes.
to
And you know,
Heart and Heavy back up.
I wanted to talk about that. Like we gave that brother a little bit of flack, and he was like, "Oh no, I got to
Right.
put on my
I can
Tim,
still rap.
and I got an East Coast stomp, and I need to come." So yes, we got You Can't See, which was a very competently done
Yes.
record.
Uh-huh.
Like I believed him. Like
Yes.
it wasn't me. We weren't looking at listening to the record like, who is Heavy kidding? No, we believed him. He did it with such conviction. There was that. There was Don't Curse.
Yes.
Um, and so he started bringing back a little bit of, a harder edge, but he wasn't stupid. He knew
No.
that his bread and butter was still entertaining people, specifically the ladies.
There are two types of people in the world: those who complain about the state of today's music and those who dig. I'm Jason Randall Smith, and I invite you to check out Radio B-Sides, Both Sides of the Surface, a music podcast championing the work of independent artists from around the way to around the world. With a primary focus on Creative Commons licensed music, think of this show as a never-ending virtual crate dig through a parallel universe of online labels, seeking out the hip-hop, soul, jazz, funk, and electronic music gems that are often hiding in plain sight, and hopefully demystifying the world of Creative Commons along the way, one song at a time. You can find Radio B-Sides wherever you listen to podcasts. For more information, visit the website at bsots.com. That's BSOTS.com.
We're not skipping over Blue Funk on purpose. Like
Mhm.
Blue Funk, by executive produced by Eddie F, Heavy D, and Diddy, was his return to like rap for the most part.
Streets.
Yeah, his return to the streets. And let me see, how did this Blue Funk, great record. All Music gives it 4 stars. I checked in with it in getting ready for this, and I was like, oh, this was like a competent record. It was well laid out. All of the things. Blue Funk was on there. First album that Teddy Riley didn't have any production on. It was Pete Rock, Tony Dofat. We're going to talk about Tony Dofat in a little bit, but it was Pete Rock, Heavy D, Tony Dofat, Skef Anselm had a joint on here, as you know, who was famously name checked by Q-Tip. Skef Anselm, he gets props too. So we're all on the Blue Funk album. But let's talk about the ladies, because this also, one of the things that triggered this conversation is because it is the 30th anniversary of the last Heavy D and the Boys album, which is Nothing But Love. Of course, famously first single Got Me Waiting, which is a total jam today. So we're kind of celebrating that album, but that was really Heavy's album for the ladies, you know.
For sure. Nothing But Love, quite honestly, still is one of my favorite Heavy D videos because he had all the supermodels in
Yes.
it. It was
The
funny.
Noxzema girl.
The Noxzema girl. And, he had, I can't remember that brother's name, but he had those comedians in it.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a fun, fly video because at that time, things were getting grittier.
Very,
in
very
hip-hop.
gritty.
But Heavy was like, you know what? We need to lighten it up a little bit. We need to have a little bit of fun. And I just like the just the notion of the song "I Got Nothing But Love for You."
Yeah.
And that's something that he was always able to be able to talk to us in our age group and talk to our parents. He just had that gift.
Yes.
He was that guy in your friend group that you could always bring home to, around your parents, because they'd be like,
He wasn't going to embarrass y'all. I like
he
that. I
wasn't
like
gonna,
that
I
Dwight.
like him.
Right.
I like that Dwight boy. You can bring him around more often. He was definitely that kid with all the manners and everything. But yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think was that the no, he started doing solo joints after that, right? Because the Waterbed Head came
Head,
after that.
which was let's talk about that. Yes,
Black
Waterbed Head
Coffee.
came after Nothing But Love. Oh, one note I want to make before we leave Nothing But Love as an album. He also had one of the most competent odes to Black women. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. That's the kind of girl I need down with my team. Dudes wasn't talking like that. You know what I'm saying?
No. Nobody was checking for the girls that were the complexion of coffee.
Exactly. And Hev absolutely brought that to the bear. And so, of course, that was the last Heavy D and the Boys record, but Hev goes on to do solo albums. Mm-hmm. By then, 95, he took over Uptown because famously Andre Harrell went to Motown. Remember all the posters of Andre Harrell taking over Motown? It was a whole media blitz.
I'm trying to remember, what did the posters look like?
Oh my goodness. There was Andre Harrell. It was a back end of a chair, and it was just like a cigar, and it was like Motown, he is coming.
Okay. Yes. Those guys, Andre, Sean, very ostentatious. They did not mind being flashy with it. They did not mind giving you an image of wealth. And Heavy did that, but he was also still very genuine to other people. Like he did not have a problem going and representing in other people's videos. One of my favorite videos is the One More Chance video. And he shows up in that.
Yeah.
And it's like giving and dapping up Big, like passing on the fly big boy baton to him.
Yes.
So that did something to my heart. Yeah. And he would show up in numerous videos. Like you said, he was in the Who's the Man video, showing up for Naughty, showing up for Queen Latifah. I know Queen Latifah loved her some Heavy D.
Yes.
And so again, like I said at the beginning, there weren't too many people that were universally liked like Heavy D. And how many people had a movie where the subplot was me and my girl, we're going to become dancers and we're going to go out to LA because we want to be dancers in a Heavy D video. Who can say that they were the subplot for a movie? Not too many people.
Not too many people. And I think that when we start talking about Heavy's solo career, it's interesting, right? So the last 3 Heavy D albums, before there's really like 4, because there's like an EP that I didn't know about until I was preparing for this. But I'm gonna just focus on the records. You have Waterbed Hev, you have Heavy, and then you have Vibes. Vibes kind of sits to itself, and we'll talk about that in a second. Waterbed Hev, I didn't remember very well. Waterbed Hev sits in the exact same category as Salt and Pepper's Brand New. Mm-hmm. Heavy D released that record in 97, same year as Brand New. The industry changed on these folks, right? Yep. So Heavy D is doing Big Daddy, and he's, you know what I'm saying, you getting a groove and you getting a little bit of sang. The kids weren't doing that, right? The industry changed on them. And I think there was only 2 singles released from the Waterbed Hev record. Mm-hmm. And it was just kind of the industry, I think, flipped. Like Rug pulled out records. He was a dinosaur at that point. Like no one's doing that. And so when he did do Heavy, which is my least favorite Heavy D album, it was because he was trying to do what everyone else was doing at that time. The N-word was every other word. It was just like, Hev, you're trying. I know why you're trying. But it didn't work. So it made sense that he would basically kind of pseudo retire because we didn't hear from him again until Vibes came out, and that was a completely different. He went reggae then, and that made sense. But literally, hip hop, he had nothing left to give rap by that point.
But I don't think he, like, okay, so you brought up Salt and Pepper.
Yeah.
Like, I think Salt and Pepper kind of, in the eyes of the fans, kind of went out bad. Whereas I don't think Heavy D suffered that kind of that kind of embarrassment like the ladies did, because he was just that, and it's probably because he was a man, was just that respected, and he was known in all the circles, and he had his feet in Hollywood as well. So I don't think he was embarrassed, made to feel embarrassed at that time, like other people were kind of being slowly pushed out of the limelight of being an MC, being a rap artist at that time. So him stepping off to do more executive things was just a natural progression and fit him well. I do want to, before we move on, I do want to talk about one of my favorite performances by him. And it's that's at that Uptown MTV's Uptown Unplugged performance towards the end.
You know what? God. I have to revisit. Mary overshadowed. I still remember Mary's and stuff so vividly for that. I gotta go back. I don't remember it. What did he do, a medley or did he do a song? Do you remember?
So it was like a posse. It was a posse cut at the very end.
Okay.
And it was like a call out to everybody that was there. So they called up Heavy D, Heavy ripped it. Then they had who else was on? Father MC came through and did his thing. So they had the rappers come through, and then of course they had all the singers do their thing. It was literally a posse cut.
Okay.
At the end of this to round up the MTV Unplugged performance. And Heavy D was just killing. It was like, okay, that's why this man is so respected, because it's one thing to see. It was one thing to see your favorite in a video or hear them on a record, but to see them perform live and like really bring home the bacon is two completely different things. Like, oh, he's that dude. He means that, and had complete control over that mic and that crowd that whole time. And it was just a really dope appearance, one of his big performances that I can remember. And I just wanted to give light to that performance because it was really special. It was really great, and it showed his connection, the love between all the Uptown label mates, and just how promising the future was for them as a label, as a unit, because they really had it going on.
I am going to go back and revisit that. That's something we should watch together. Let's watch the Uptown Unplugged. Let's add that to our list. Couple quick things. For folks that don't know, Heavy D has the distinction of having a Dilla production. So on the Heavy album, Listen, which features Q-Tip, is produced by Dilla, actually. Because at that time, of course, Q-Tip was working really closely with JD. He was going by JD then. But very few folks could say that. So Heavy D absolutely was rhyming on a JD beat on the Heavy album. So if you didn't know that, go and check it out. And real quick, I just wanted to show some love for the Vibes record. So Heavy D's last full record came out in 2008. It kind of showed up because he had been gone since 99, 2000. So this is like, he'd been gone 20 years in hip hop years, right? And he shows up with a reggae album. And there's an interview where at the time, and I was able to find this, we'll put it in the description, where he talked about, I was done with hip hop. I just didn't know what else to do with that. So I'm doing this. So the music never left him. The industry certainly left him behind, but he came back and he did something really good. Like he was singing on the Vibes record in his Heavy D voice. And Yeah, on kind of a smaller label. It was him, Tony Dofat again. Let's just show love to Tony Dofat, one of those engineers and producers that has worked. You want to talk about 90s New York hip hop and R&B? Tony Dofat was probably there.
Tony Dofat, his work is like the first lead single off of Queen Latifah's Black Hand Side that
Yep.
give it to no bring it to who brings the flavor. Yes.
Mhm.
I mean that you talking about setting the tone for the album. Yes, his production is really definitely the things that was a classic 90s style. He definitely coined a 90s flavor sound that you could hear kind of reminiscent in P Rock and CL Smooth and
Yes.
Ill and Al Scratch, those kind of guys. It was this really smooth, polished hip hop with a street edge to it, but it was very polished.
Yep.
So shout out to Tony Dofat.
Mhm.
I want to the real reason why we started discussing Heavy D is because one, it was coming up on his birthday,
Mhm.
and two, we saw the news that his daughter, what's her name again, J. Ray?
Oh,
It's
you know what?
the
Oh,
X.
Zay Myers, is that right?
It starts with the X. You're right.
Zay
Zaya, I
Myers.
think.
Yeah, Zay Myers. Or it might be Zay Zia or Zay.
And the news was just broken that she now has the rights to her father's estate, which is something that I think is very important. And I always harp on this because I feel like we don't hold on to our legacy as much as we should.
Mhm.
Like we need to hold on to the not just the mechanical rights of the music, but get those masters.
Yes.
So be in control of all of that.
Yeah.
And when I see she's part of this generation of rappers that the kids are in their 30s now, they're grown.
Mhm.
Like what was that picture you showed me? Was her, it was
Yes.
Christopher
Yep.
Jr.
Mhm.
and some other
And
young
King,
people
it was King Combs. Yep.
right.
Mhm.
So we just can't get around from mentioning
Dang.
we just can't get away from mentioning that name. But no, but it just it's very heartwarming, and I have hope because I want these elements of hip hop to remain in these families.
Yes.
It's generational wealth.
Mhm.
And I really hate when people sell off their legacy.
Yeah.
I know that there are different reasons why people sell catalogs and all that other stuff, but it kind of breaks my heart
Yeah.
because I really do think about all the blood, sweat, and tears that these guys put in the long, hard yards on these tours and became icons at such young ages. And I just want us to keep that history, keep it.
Mm.
And so hearing that the reason why she's just now getting control of it is because she's finally
20
of age.
yeah, I think she's 23 now, so it's time.
So I think it's really important to say that she's not in control of the estate because Heavy's brother
Mhm.
was in control of the estate. And I'm ecstatic that happened. I'm glad that
Yeah.
happened. Somebody did their paperwork.
Yes.
Somebody did put things in place the way they should have. And now she's of age. She can take it over. And she's somewhat of her own star. She's got her own sense of celebrity and accomplishments that she's made on her own using the platforms of social media and whatnot. So I'm hoping that she has the savvy and the connections to do something really special with her dad's legacy and keep that money in the family, pass on that
Yes.
generational wealth. That's always been my wish and my hope for all these people that have made some money, made some wealth in
Mhm.
this game and were able to keep some of it.
Heavy's legacy, to that point, deserves attention. Like we need to be just like we're doing this show here at Q Points. We need to absolutely be talking about Heavy D more. Because the brother was a pioneer. And we absolutely salute you, Heavy D. sending love to G Wiz and Eddie F. Eddie F's still out here producing and doing everything possibly in Atlanta. Oh no, probably in Houston now. He's in the South doing all the things. And so yeah, just keeping that legacy alive. And I do one more thing to shout out to, because legacy of Heavy D is long. Like Pete Rock still killing it. You know what I'm saying?
In his own special way.
Yeah,
Common. He just dropped the album.
He just dropped the joint with Common. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking about him. I'm thinking of my favorite name check of Heavy D in a song. Nas, 2012. Heavy D gave this beat to Salam for me to rap to. The Don. Nas is the Don, and you get that kind of name check to be like, nah, Heavy D gave this beat to Salam Remy so that I could rap on it.
That's right. That's right. You nailed it. That's what more can we say? He was definitely top billing.
And definitely I think this all underscores, because all the things that we've talked about have links back to Heavy D and Heavy D's work.
Sure.
So he wasn't just an artist at Uptown. He was part of the business of Uptown. And all of these artists, all of these connections, all of these things that we've talked about are the reason why hip hop is where it is today is because of the work that Heavy D put in, right? Heavy D, through his artistry, through his work, built all of these bridges to the stuff that we have now. And he deserves all the love for that.
He absolutely does. So, this has been a great conversation as always.
I appreciate you, Sir Daniel. This was fun.
I always appreciate our conversations. And yeah, like I think I want to say I appreciate our listeners for listen. Y'all blew up that that live we did after the apology dropped. You guys really blew up that clip. So I don't know. It's just and I'm glad we did this conversation because it's such a dark time. It's literally heavy, no pun intended. And for us heading into the summertime, this was a time when back in the day, we knew we were going to get something from Heavy D and artists like him that were going to take us off into the summer and give us something fun and relaxing to bop to. And right now we're in a place where we are just being bombarded constantly by day after day, revelation after revelation of some really dark things that have happened in the past to some people. And it's just really sad. We got Diddy getting his comeuppance, if you would. Joe Budden needs to tread lightly. He needs to tread very lightly right about now.
I think sit this one out, bro.
Let it go.
Let them brothers on your show, right? Them brothers on your show, let them do the talking. You just sit over there and be pretty. Don't say nothing.
Don't say. And Amber Rose being a complete incel.
She's a MAGA now. I don't even know what.
The grift is real. The grift is real.
You know what? That is really what it is. These people be out here just like whatever's gonna bring them a coin. They just gonna float on over there.
Yep.
You ain't got to worry about that with Q Points. We are still doing Black music history over here on Q Points. So come on back.
Please come on back. J. Ray, we got some stuff on the website.
Yes.
That needs to be sold.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, somebody asked me about. Oh, where was I? I was at shout out to Alvin Aragat and Craig Washington for Where We Gather. You guys are going to, when this documentary hits the mainstream and gets out there, you guys are going to thoroughly enjoy this history about the Paradise Garage and what it meant to a community. It meant life for a community. It meant shelter. And it was really, I felt so proud just sitting down there and listening and watching the first cut of the documentary, and just really happy for Alvin and all the hard work that he's put in. And you guys, when the time comes, you are thoroughly going to enjoy it. Take it from DJ Sir Daniel. So shout out to him. But yeah, I went there and I had my one of my Q Points buttons on. And so somebody was inquiring about that. I was like, hey, it's right there on the store. Go to it right now. Pull up your phone. It's on your phone right now. Send in that order.
Yes.
But J Ray, for the listener, remind them how they can get their own.
Yo, y'all. So visit our website. So if you visit our website at qpoints.com, QUEUE points.com, and click on the store, you can get to our store, check out all of our products and things that we have there. In addition, if you are hearing our voices, watching our faces, thank you so much. We appreciate that. That is the most important thing that you can do. And please share the show with your friends, family, colleagues. If you enjoy Q Points, chances are they will enjoy Q Points too. So we encourage you to definitely share the show. And if you want to go a step further and become a member of Q Points, you absolutely can. You can sign up for our newsletter on the website as well as become a member. We really appreciate y'all.
We absolutely do. And as I always say, J Ray, in this life, you have a choice. You can either pick up the needle or you can let you can let the record play. I was going to try it, but then I said, no.
But I can't do it, but diddly, 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 D.
Yeah, I can't do it. There was no other like you, Heavy D, that's for sure. Anyway, this is DJ Sir Daniel.
I'm J Ray, y'all.
And this has been Q Points Podcast, dropping the needle on Black music history. We'll see you on the next go round. Peace.
Peace, y'all.